This is Marc Tobias and Tobias Bluzmanis with Investigative Law Offices and Security Laboratories. We've undertaken an analysis of gun safes in part one of this report. Part two will be a follow-up with in-room hotel safes. They all have similar characteristics. We've looked at several different brands of gun safes that are extremely popular. We went out and purchased about 10 different samples from Amazon.com and Cabelas, both in the store and online, to evaluate in our lab for their design deficiencies, defects, and insecurity. What we found is not surprising. All the safes that you see in the background here we've tested, every one of them can be opened, and they can be opened fairly rapidly, and most of them by children. These safes are designed to protect valuables and protect weapons, and to keep kids away from guns. This inquiry began because of the tragic death of a 3-year-old, the son of a police officer in Vancouver, Washington in 2010. As a result of that inquiry, we looked at a safe that was issued by the Sheriff's Department in Vancouver. We found it to be totally defective in engineering. It's made by Stack-On company in Wauconda, Illinois. So we decided not only to document what was wrong with that safe, but to look at all of their other safes. Now, as you see, we have electronic keypads, we have biometric with fingerprint, we have key lock plus keypad, we have biometric, again, fingerprint by a different manufacturer. So we didn't want to just look at Stack-On. We wanted to look at some of their competitors. So we looked at AMSEC, Stack-On, Bulldog, and SecureVault, which are all shown here. We have others that we looked at, but this is a pretty good representative sample. You'll notice one of the Stack-Ons we have 2 of here because there's a design defect that we can exploit to open the safe in about 5 seconds, and so we wanted to make sure that it wasn't a manufacturing defect for one of them, so we ordered another one, same problem. So basically what our lab does, we analyze high security locks and other products for bypass capability. We work for some of the largest lock manufacturers in the world, and we find engineering problems. And in this case, it's our contention that Stack-On and these other companies, they honestly do not understand security engineering, and how they know how to make things work, but they do not know how to break them, and in this case, with potentially tragic consequences. We already have one 3-year-old that's been killed because of a gunshot wound. The gun was in a Stack-On safe, the safe was accessed, and the net result is that the little boy is dead. That is as serious a design defect as you can get. We tested, as I noted, 5 different brands, including Stack-On, which is one of the major manufacturers in the United States, and all of these, in our view, are defective. Their designs are not secure, and every one of these safes should be pulled from the market until they're fixed. They should be recalled. Amazon.com, Wal-Mart, Cabelas, any other retailer that's distributing these, as well as locksmiths, they ought to be aware of what the vulnerabilities are, because it's just a matter of time before somebody else gets hurt or killed. I should also mention that the California Department of Justice has enacted standards many years ago for gun locks. Many of these safes are rated as passing those standards and in compliance with them. We're investigating that aspect of this case right now, because California should not be certifying safes that can be opened by a child in seconds. Some of the implements that we've used to open these safes are a paperclip, a straw, a piece of wire that is just a little piece of shim, and actually a piece of brass that you can buy at any hardware store. This is particularly a problem because the most secure Stack-On safe that they make is a very clever motor-driven locking mechanism controlled by a keypad or a bypass key. This piece of brass will open that in about 3 seconds. We don't consider that as being secure. So what you need to understand is that all of these safes can be opened with, there's no audit trail. You'll never know they were opened. And this can be a real problem, especially for parents, because kids can access these, they can play with guns, they can get the contents out of the safe, they can put it back, you'll never know it. So we view this as a real problem. There's no trace. One of the videos that we did in preparation for this report is a 3-year-old child literally opening one of the stack-on safes and one of the AMSEC safes. And this is because of a design defect in many of these mechanisms. They've been copied by the Chinese, and we might note most of these safes are manufactured in China. So we don't know who's responsible for the security engineering, whether it's the Chinese or whether it's the American companies that are importing these. What we can tell you is they really do not have a clue as to how to make a secure container. Some of these have an internal reset switch, which we actually exposed in 2010 with one of the AMSEC models. There's the DL4000. These reset switches, many of which can be accessed directly, and again, on these containers here, they have reset switches. We were able to access them. So it is a real problem. Gun safes are designed to keep guns away from kids so that they cannot access them. We did a report years ago on gun locks and found that essentially most of them are worthless, even the ones that are certified by the Department of Justice in California. There's very few gun locks that we would rate as secure. Gun safes are supposed to be one step above that. None of these are secure, and again, these are the major brands in the United States. So we're going to talk about very briefly on each safe the design failures. The representations by all these manufacturers is they're secure. The minute they put a picture of a gun on the packaging that shows you can put that gun in the safe and lock it up safely, there's a problem because it's not true. Now, maybe the manufacturers don't know how to open up their own safes, which we found to be a major problem in the lock and safe industry. But when you start talking about weapons, it's a whole different venue. And again, in this case, manufacturing defects can kill you. And so all of these safes have design failures. We believe they can essentially all be opened by kids, and they should not carry DOJ certification. So we're going to go through and look at the mechanism, the container, and the locks. And as I said, stack-on was our prime focus because of the investigation that we became involved in, but we looked at other safes, not only to see what the state of the industry was, but to be fair. So we're going to go through now and talk about each safe and show in rapid fire how to open them.